Okay, so we have PA30, which is the master data for the employees, and it contains everything related with the master data, the actions that are being taken. Actions, by actions we mean hiring, promotion, demotion, actions like these, or transfer, okay, or firing, whatever. So personal administration is handled with PA30. Okay. If you go to PA40, it handles all the actions for the employees. Now, if you talk about actions specifically, we have actions like leaving, changing pay, paid down. We have time recording, timesheet, hire up, so on and so forth. There are many, many actions that can be done for a certain employee. Semi-retirement, okay. Semi-retirement, execute. So what are the action that we're taking? We're taking a retirement for civil servant or return from vacation, whatever. So based on that, of course, your action history will be saved over here as well. Now, in HCM, all the T codes in HCM start with personal area. By personal area, now what is personal area? This is your physical location of your office where your payroll will be run. Every personal area will have their own payroll areas, okay? And payroll is specifically run for personal area, okay? Then, if you look at the configuration, SPRO, SPRO, we have a personal areas, which is physical location, sub areas is corporate office and the factory. Okay, employee groups is, what are employee groups? Employee groups are active, retiree, early retiree. Those are employee groups. Employee subgroups are contractual, salaried, weekly paid and salary paid. Okay, daily wages. Those can be your employee subgroups. Okay. Now, if you talk about the payroll area, if you go down, personnel management, personnel development, recruitment, payroll. Okay. Okay, we can choose any one, but let's first start with personnel management. Global settings and personnel management. Personnel area mode and data payment. Let me just elaborate it through a presentation. That will be much better. Okay. Personal data PA30, PF40. Okay, we have already seen how master data is actually structured out. Okay, and speaking of HR company structures, what are company structures? Now, these basically is the layout how companies are basically formed. Okay, and if you look at these physical locations, these are your personal areas. Okay, and this is the layout how your company will be establishing their structures in SAP. Personal structures can be administrative and organizational. And of course, it is a way to identify groups and employees, and of course, the nature of their jobs. Some people will be on working on the ground, and some people are working 9 to 5 at the offices in the same company. Okay. Administrative, of course, it's for calculating and processing the payroll. If you talk about organizational structures, of course, you don't have people, but you have jobs and positions being defined for an organization. But in administration, of course, you manage people at the management level, at the lower level. So we have employee groups, which can be active employees, and then we have subgroups. And subgroups are the various jobs and positions that we have, and based on those employee groups we can uh, our payroll area will be designed. So now payroll areas can be different for different setups. The payroll areas, some uh, some employees will get paid on 28th, some employees will get paid on the 10th of Jan. So people who are on a rotation, they will get paid on 28th, and people who are actually getting paid in the corporate office will be 10th. The reason being because you have a setup for different employee subgroups. Okay. In organization units, it's self-explanatory that departments are actually aligned, and these departments have jobs and positions like these. Okay. So positions, of course, are specific to the organization. Jobs are further described by positions. So positions are basically the laws, the rules. Okay. So in a master data, we have three layers: enterprise structure, which is the company they are working with. The personnel structure will be the employee groups and the subgroups and the payroll area. Okay. Personnel area, of course, it comes at the enterprise structure. The organizational structure, of course, will tell you what department, what job, what position the person is holding. Employee subgroup, as we have already known, this is employee group active, and employee subgroup is clerical and the let's say the waiting staff, for example, they will have a separate payroll area. Okay. Now, um, and personal sub area, of course, is based on organizational management, where your departments are actually grouped together, and of course, you will be taking and defining actions for the department. Okay. Personal sub areas. Why do we use personal sub areas? Because in personal sub areas, you have to align actions. Now, for example, in a factory area, there will be an HR department, there will be a sales department, there will be inventory department. Okay. But it is related with the factory, not with the office. But at the office, there will be a sales area, marketing area department, and of course, sales, marketing, and inventory department as well, purchasing department. But in factory, of course, the nature of their job and position will be different. Why? Because first of all, the timings, then the payroll. Factory payrolls will run on the first, the public holidays are different from the corporate office because factories are running 24 hours. Then the wage types can be different for laborers, for contractors, for um, various people who might not be permanent, might be on ad hoc basis or are being hired as consultants at the factory area. Okay. So the structure of the basic pay, the very outline of the basic pay will be different in a factory than a corporate office. Okay, so know the difference that personnel sub areas will have different criterias like wage types, holidays, time management, basic pays. That is personnel sub areas. Okay, so personnel area is physical, and personnel sub areas is basically dependent on these factors. The personnel sub area will be your factory and your corporate office. Employee subgroup. Now, employee subgroup, uh, we've already we've already seen active employee, and under active we have a different various groups like clerks, like journalists, like officers, executives. Okay, now these are basically subgroups, and each subgroup will be subject to various criterias like wage types, evaluations, scheduling, scale groups, and so on and so forth. So each of these employee subgroups or personal sub areas will actually go through infotypes. Now, infotypes is the heart and soul of HCM. For example, employee master data will have these infotypes. Every event or master data or any action that is being taken is actually falling under info. Info types is basically the blood and soul and the heart of HCM. Okay. Now, employee, of course, with employee, there are many variables attached and connected, like family, address, organizational management, details, actions, actions like hiring, firing. I've already told you that. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And what else? What else? 1 minute, I'll just show you. Actions, organizational assignment, personal data, payroll status. Now, these are action types, and these are the codes, unique codes to the action to the info types. Actions is denoted by tetra 0. Organizational assignment is 0001. Payroll status is 0003. And these info types are essential if a personal number has to be generated. Okay. Oh, I missed this. Okay. We've already seen these screens. Let's move on. Now, speaking of actions, info types. Now, these are the info types. Now, how do we retrieve an info type and see a list of info types? For that, let's go to SAP SC11. Database table T50 T58-2A display. Okay, more. Data browser, table contents. Or we can use another T code as well. I'll show you that as well. It will not show you like SM30 display. Okay, find maintenance dialog. Okay, info type with account logic structure per info type for attributes and attributes per info header structure per info type. Okay, header structure, let's see that. Display. Now, if you look at this, there is a complete list and it goes in numerous numbers into hundreds and into like 10,000 because this is 4 series, right? So we have a lot of info types. Double click. Okay, it's not allowing for the customizing right now, which is okay, right? And okay, T58 2A. Then we have 25 appraisals and communication. Okay, actions that we are so much uh, mentioning is uh, related with the actions a company can take using the employee status, and that can be newly hired, promotions, transfers, demotions, firing, and so on and so forth. Organizational assignment is personal area, which is physical area. Sub areas is office or the factory. Enterprise management, which company that you will be assigning that person. Info groups. Now, what are info groups? Info types that are combined. We have already seen if you combine all these, it becomes info group to perform a certain action. For example, if you're maintaining master data, you will be required to, uh, you will be required when you are hiring a person, you need personal details like name, address, family details, marital status, degree for that hiring. And when that person is getting promoted, okay, of course, the requirement for action info types will be different because for promotion, you need some certification, some exams, or some interviews that are so that will be covered in those actions. Okay, as simple as that. Okay. Next, although our, okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Find maintenance dialog. Personal administration is not here. Info type attributes. Okay, let's see this. Okay, yeah. Over here we have some details. For example, 25 is appraisals. Now this is info type. Of course, on this info type, you'll take actions for specific movement in the direction of that employee for that department. Over here, we have settings for each action. Now, this is where the expertise of uh, the HCM consultant is basically tested when it actually comes to relating to this process, why and how the appraisals will be designed for this very customer by the consultant is basically dependent on this. Screens, of course, will be designed by the HCM consultant. Okay. And for example, if I draw out more, so we have quite a lot of actions and then we have garnishments. Now, what is garnishment? List of garnishments. Now, what is garnishment? Garnishment, general benefits info. Okay. Now, so garnishments basically is this is a little bit different from the usual, and it actually comes uh, 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 under this. Let me just show you Cobra. Now, Cobra is an info type. Okay. Now, Cobra is a info type, which is for beneficiary in case the employee passes away, all that remaining settlement will be passed on to the beneficiary. What is the full meaning, Cobra? Consolidated Omnibus Reconciliation Act. That is called Cobra. Garnishment is basically, what is garnishment? What is garnishment? Let me tell you that. What is garnishment? Garnishment basically is employee gets divorced. So the alimony payment will have to be released and shared. Um, in terms of deductions, garnishments get the highest priority. That's why it is a little bit of high importance. Because, of course, it has a legal weightage. Although, since it is legal, it has to do with the family and children, but family and children are not in the system, but still the details are there. And in sometimes garnishments are credit card payments that are not made, okay, and which can be claimed under the garnishment. So any uh, absconding amount will be adjusted through garnishment amounts or tax evasions done. For example, employee leaves the position and there was some fund in the garnishment amount and his credit card payments were due. That will be paid by garnishment amounts using these info types. Okay. So there are many info types, and we'll see that in the next lecture. Of course, we will start with the configuration. Thank you very much.